How's it going, everyone? The great guys and gals over at JBL sent me some fantastic products to review. First up is the JBL Cooler 200 and the additional controller. I've seen many videos and forum posts where people have struggled with temperatures in their tank, especially when temperatures start to rise in the surrounding environment, like obviously when the weather gets really hot. Your house heats up and sometimes it can be really hard to control your temperatures and bring the temperatures down. I've seen lots of quick fix methods such as adding ice to the tank, doing lots of partial water changes, and even people putting desktop fans over the top of their aquarium to help bring the heat down. JBL have come up with a cost-effective method that will help bring the temperatures down and at the same time won't ruin the aesthetics. There are different size JBL coolers to suit most tanks. This one is the 4-fan version, is the JBL Cooler 200. You can get a 2-fan version, which is the JBL 100, and you can get a 6-fan version, which is JBL 300. This one measures 327 millimeters long, 75 millimeters high, and the width is 170 millimeters, if I remember correctly. All the JBL coolers run on 12 volt, and you do get a power pack supplied, which just plugs straight into your mains and will bring the voltage down to 12. The one that was sent to me came direct from JBL, so it's actually the 2-prong version, and as I'm sure you're aware, in the UK we use the 3-prong plugs. They did send me an adapter, but I believe you can get 3-prong versions for the UK and whichever adapters you need for other countries. What I'm going to do is take this out of the box and I'll show you the individual pieces. Okay, so in the box you get the cooler itself. And as I've already stated, this is the 4-fan version that runs at 12 volt, but JBL do supply the power supply for it. And as I've already stated, I've got the 2-prong version, but they sent me the adapter. But I'm sure you can get it as the 3-prong for the UK. The build quality is fantastic. There's no rough edges. Everything's well finished. It's a mixture of aluminium, as you can see there, and plastic. The clamps themselves are made of plastic, but they're very, very sturdy. They're not really flimsy like you do see on a lot of clamp-on items for your aquarium. On the clamp itself, it's got a piece of rubber on the inside, which goes on one side of the glass. And my only disappointment is that the screw part doesn't have a piece of rubber on the end, and they haven't supplied any rubber protectors for it, so you've got to screw the plastic straight to your glass, and I think that's something that I would have liked to have seen. But everything else seems really, really well built. On the side of the unit there is a single on-off switch, and there is a power hole where you just plug your power supply into. As I'm sure you're aware, most plants and tropical fish don't tolerate temperatures over 30 degrees. The cool air that's blown over the aquarium surfaces causes evaporation, and this evaporation process reduces the water temps by about 2 to 4 degrees C, giving you that safety buffer. Now, because fans are involved, obviously it's not silent, but the sound is not overpowering. It's certainly no louder than water trickling into your tank. And if you do require some peace and quiet when you're home watching a film or with the family, you can just switch it off. All in all, this is a great piece of equipment and highly recommended. The price is around about the £40 mark, which I don't think is actually too bad at all. This isn't the end of the review by a long shot. JBL also sent me the cool controller, and this handy piece of kit will turn the fan on and off depending on your water temperature. You set your maximum temperature using the dial on the front of the unit, and if your water temp goes above that set temperature, then the fans fire up. Okay, the controller itself has a dial on the front here that you set the temperature that you want the unit to turn on at. So most people tend to keep their tank waters at around about the 24 degree mark, 23, 24, something like that. But anything over 30 degrees can have adverse effects on your plants and your fish. So you can set the temperature wherever you want, 26, 28, or even the 30 itself. And what you do is you have that on the automatic setting. So when the temperature probe, which comes from the bottom of the unit, detects the water has gone and met your selected temperature, it will automatically turn the unit on. And when it goes past that, when the temperature drops, it will turn the unit off again. On the bottom you've got an automatic, an off and a manual. If you switch it to the manual position, that allows you to turn the unit just on and off at the cooler itself. And obviously you can turn the unit off from here without having to touch the switches. Most of the time, the idea of getting the cooler is to have it turn on and off automatically, so it'll just be on the automatic setting. There's two indicator lights here. You've got the power light, which will glow red to tell you that there's power going to the controller. And then you've got the on light, which will be green. And when the fan fires up, that light will actually go green, just to show you that everything's working okay. You've got the power adapter that comes from the bottom of the control unit. This actually plugs into the cooler itself, and then your main power lead, which would originally go to the cooler unit, actually plugs into the bottom there. And then obviously your temperature probe goes into the tank. Very, very handy piece of kit. Around about the £19–20 mark, but definitely something you should use alongside your cooler. Okay, as you can see, I've already installed the cooler onto the tank. Very easy, just place it over the glass and tighten up the plastic screws that are on the bottom of the clamps. You take your controller and your power socket there, and you plug that into the actual cooler itself. The other cable that comes from the controller is your temperature probe. Just put that onto the suction cup like so, and place that into the tank, and then take the other end of the power supply and plug that into the bottom of the controller, as you can see just there. Now I've set the dial at 24 degrees because I know that the water in here is a lot cooler than that. But to try and simulate the actual unit turning on and off, I've got myself a glass of warm water. So I'm going to take the probe out, and I'm going to place that into the warm water, and hopefully within a few seconds the fan will turn itself on. There you go, that's the fan turned itself on because the temperature's obviously warmer. Now what I will do is I'll take it out of that warm water and I'll put it back into the tank, and hopefully it should turn itself off again. There you go. Very, very simple. It's really easy to connect. Does exactly what it's supposed to do, turns itself on and off when the temperature changes. Bit of peace of mind when you're in an area where the temperatures do warm up quite a lot, and you worry that your tanks are going to overheat. The unit itself, the cooler unit, costs around about the £40 mark. It's probably about the cheapest I've seen it. And the controller itself, they cost around about £19–20. So you're looking at an investment of about £60, which I don't think is too bad at all for that peace of mind. So the only cons with the cooler itself, not having rubber for the plastic screws against the glass, I think that's something that they should have included. And with the controller, I think they're missing a trick here by not having a temperature display. So you know the current temperature of your tank. It's just an added feature I think people would encourage more people to buy, because obviously you've got a thermometer and the controller in one then. But JBL have really impressed me with this kit. They've seen a problem, they've come up with a solution, and I think it's a solution many people can afford, and certainly saves going out and buying an expensive £500 plus chiller. So thank you very much for watching, everyone. I hope it's given you a bit of help, and you like the review. Please give me a thumbs up, and if you go down to the bottom, you'll see a show more button. Click that, and I'll put all the information about these in there. I believe you can buy these in the UK from most Maidenhead aquatic stores, and there are certainly plenty available on eBay, and I'm sure many other stores. So thank you very much for watching, everyone, and take care. Bye.